This question is asking about the Kubler-Ross theory of grief, and the question is asking which of the following is not one of the stages of grief as described by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. So let's review the 5 stages of grief and then look for which choice is not in it. So the first stage of grief is denial, and denial is characterized by a person refusing to accept the fact that the person is deceased. So refusal to accept. They might state, oh no, that's not true, the person's still here, you're wrong, they're still here. So because denial is option A here, and we're talking about denial as the first stage of grief, we can eliminate option A because this is in fact included in the 5 stages, and the question is asking us which of the following is not included. The second stage of grief is anger. And this is when a person is really mad and really upset that the person has died. They might start saying, well, why did this have to happen? This isn't fair. And they might start yelling and being very angry, very mad. And although this is included as one of the stages of grief, none of the choices include anger here. So we could just continue on. The third stage of grief is bargaining. So in the stage of bargaining, a person might try and make a deal with a higher power to bring the person back. Maybe they'll make phrases like, well, if I agree to always donate to charity or always volunteer to be a good person, could that bring my loved one back? And bargaining is listed as option 2 right here. And since the question is asking which is not included as a stage of grief, we can eliminate option B, bargaining. In the 4th stage of grief, this is depression. And the person might be very, very sad that their loved one has passed away. And they'll be crying, and they'll just express a lot of sorrow. And this is a stage of grief as characterized by Kubler-Ross, but it is not included as one of the choices. So let's continue on discussing the final 5th stage of grief. And the 5th stage of grief is acceptance. And in acceptance, the person understands and knows that the person that they love has passed away, and they state, you know what, this is how it is, this was their time, I have to move on, and maybe honor their memory in some way. So that would be acceptance right here. Option C is included in the Kubler-Ross stages of grief, and the question's asking which is not included, so we can eliminate acceptance. And then finally, option D here states that the person is in isolation. And isolation is not one of the 5 stages of grief, and the question is asking which is not included, so we could ultimately choose option D, isolation.